My girlfriend doesn't have sex with me anymore, and whenever I bring it up she cries. I am 22. Have been dating my girlfriend, F21, for 3 years now. Actually just had our 3-year anniversary about 2 weeks ago. In the beginning of our relationship we didn't have sex for about a month or two. But after we finally broke the ice with it, we were having good consistent sex. Like literally the best sex I have ever had. Strolling into the 1-year mark, our sex life started a steady decline. We went from 1 or 2 times a week to once every 2 weeks. I expressed how sexual intimacy is very important to me in our relationship. But she would just tell me off, saying that it's normal to only have sex that often. I would tell her that it's not normal for me, and that I'm not very comfortable with that. But she didn't care, and I still did love her, so I was trying to see all the good in our relationship that made up for our lack of physical intimacy. Soon enough, the pandemic started and her family is very high risk, so we didn't see each other for a few months. First time we saw each other finally, I was expecting some sex because we hadn't been able to for so long. But no. Fast forward to late 2020. At this point our sex life has been set to once a month or so. And I'm very unhappy with this. So I bring it up. And she just starts bawling her eyes out, saying it makes her sad. I'm saying this because it means I don't think she's good enough. Yada yada ba bip bip. Stuff like that. So I leave it be. 2021 rolls in. And I'm still unhappy with our sex life, so I bring it up again. And she once again starts crying, saying the same stuff as last time. Only this time adding, I told you how it makes me feel when you talk to me about this. I don't want you bringing it up anymore, which makes me feel like she doesn't care about my concerns in the relationship. Even though I have been walking on eggshells making sure I respect her endless list of boundaries to keep this relationship alive for the last 2 years. I keep my mouth shut about it until December 2021. At this point, we haven't had sex since early October. And even that time we stopped early because she kept complaining the whole time, and I can't have a good time knowing she's not having a good time. So in late December I tell her that if we don't have a healthy sex life, which we definitely do not, this is not a relationship I want to be in. She says she understands and she'll try being more intimate. She explains that she doesn't get horny unless I initiate, which I understand. But I always try to initiate, but she just tells me to stop every time I try to. January comes and goes. Nothing still. Our anniversary comes. No sex. Valentine's was yesterday. Nothing. I've been trying to initiate sex. But as always she pushes me away and tells me to stop. I don't want to break up with her. But we have the sex life of a 70-year-old married couple that fucking hates each other. It is now February of 2022 and the last time we had sex was October of 2021. If you can even count that as sex. I mean, I don't. Our last proper sexual encounter where we both had a good time was more like July. This is not a relationship I can see myself being happy in if something doesn't change. What do I do? You literally have answered yourself in this post. You aren't asking us what to do. You're trying to convince yourself to do it, but ask yourself this. What is keeping you in this relationship? Besides the comfort of what's familiar? You said yourself you cannot be happy with a sex life like this. And by all indications it's only getting deader as things go on. You said yourself you walk on eggshells with this person who has an endless list of boundaries. You said yourself that she has told you straight up that she does not care about the needs you are bringing up. Only that you stating your needs upsets her, so you need to shove it down and keep them to yourself. I literally cannot see what is keeping you in this relationship besides the fear of the unknown. Of being single again and starting over. But dude, you're 22. Why subject yourself to this any longer? Just go. I'm sorry, but you are not sexually compatible. It's not fair for either of you to continue this relationship. I promise it will not get better for the both of you. Either she will give in to you, making her uncomfortable, or you will go without. End things so that you both can find someone who is more compatible. From someone who was in a 10+ year incompatible marriage. My ex used the same excuse. This is just what happens when people date long term, we're just not in the honeymoon phase anymore, blah blah. I stayed, but it was a constant issue between us. Eventually she admitted she was no longer attracted or in love with me despite always professing the opposite. I wasted 7 years. Run. I know you love her, but I promise you'll be 1000x happier with someone you love who also loves having sex with you. Actually, statistics show 70% have more sex than that. You are no longer compatible. You've done what you could to address the problem. You can't fix what she won't discuss. Time to move on. My GF was the same way. We had sex like 6 to 10 times a day in the beginning of our relationship. When I moved in, it became once a month, it felt like. She worked a lot, easily 10+ hours. But I tried my best to keep the house clean, cook, take care of her daughter, even help her with the stacks of work she'd bring home, and it was always promises to do so. But being on call 6 days a week with some phone on Sundays, we didn't get anywhere. I sucked it up. IKR. She changed jobs for better hours and pay. And still no sex. All of my advances were crushed to the point where I'd touch her and she'd get out of the bed and lay with her daughter. Didn't know what to do since we'd talked for a year and a half before being intimate, and now it's going on 3 years, and I was truly in love with her and was always told sex doesn't make a relationship. Blah, blah. Cut to 6 years later. She starts seeing a therapist due to her stressful job, and one of the points she brings up is our relationship. They unlocked some past drama with an uncle and blind eyes being turned. She confessed that every time I touched her it took her back to that place. And she started to hate me because I loved her body. Like they did. If you're willing to give it another shot, definitely try to broach the subject, consider that. But definitely don't spend 6 years like I did, frustrated and throwing gifts, vodkas, other romance against a wall with repeated rejection. Low self-esteem affects a lot more than eye contact. You leave. She has made it clear that she is not interested in sex. But she lacks the maturity to really accept it and say that straight out. She's probably hoping it will work out between you, somehow. But it won't. This isn't magic. And wishful thinking won't solve it. And if there was some deeper reason, trauma, self-hate, dysmorphia, that she is unwilling to be intimate, it's not your job to extract that from her. It's hers to communicate. In short, you have exhausted your options. If this relationship does make you happy, then you leave. You break it off respectfully. Let her know this isn't the relationship you want, and every time you've tried to bring it up, she refuses to even acknowledge, let alone change any behavior. You've hit a wall. The relationship will not change for the better. You're only going to grow more resentful of her. Please do what's best for both of you. You especially, as you're the unhappy one. And find someone you can have a complete relationship with, while she finds some closeted gay guy to be roommates with. Info. Has she went on any form of contraception since you guys got together? I think you already know what to do. If you still want to attempt a last hurrah, I would sit her down and communicate that you're starting to really consider the relationship and your happiness in it, how you're starting to become resentful, and unless you guys can have a serious conversation to figure out the issue, you guys won't be together much longer. But at this point, from what I've read, I feel like you could already be done with this relationship, and that's okay. Sometimes sexual compatibility isn't there, and you can only do so much to fix that. I wish you the best of luck. It is now February of 2022, and the last time we had sex was October of 2021. You are far too young to be saddled with a dead bedroom. You've brought up your concerns. She's vowed to change. And nothing has happened. The ball is in your court. I'm going to say the same thing as everyone else here. It's time to give up on this relationship. I was in a long, sexless relationship with a woman who would shut down and cry every time I tried to talk to her about it, and would always blame me for why we weren't having sex. A couple of years after we broke up, she came out as asexual on social media. I regret all of the time that I spent with her, trying to do all of the ever-changing things that she said would make her want to have sex with me. I missed out on opportunities to move away from our boring hometown because I was loyal to her, and she didn't want to move. If I had faced the fact that she was never going to sleep with me after 6 months or a year, instead of much longer, I could be in a way different place in my life than I am now. So leave her. You know it's what you need to do. Do it as soon as you can. You dump her. Difference in sex drive is a valid reason to break up. Y'all should have broken up years ago. I have a feeling your girlfriend is either depressed or not attracted to you anymore. I see a lot of people telling you to leave her, but before you end up doing that, actually ask her what's going on. Is she okay? What's changed? From personal experience, I know that mental health can affect libido whether you want it to or not. If she is depressed and you do break up with her, I can imagine how awful it would make her feel knowing you're leaving her because she can't have sex with you. You know there's like 4 billion other women on Earth, right? Maybe this one isn't a good match for you. Dude, this has got to end. She's not going to magically understand your side of you've tried so many times. Really, the only thing to do is leave if she won't listen to you even. Break up. Sex incompatibility is a deal breaker for me too. I'd leave. The fact that she won't even talk about it bothers me. She's neglecting you and then guilt-tripping you about feeling neglected. It's been way too long to wait for her to open up on her own. She doesn't want it. She doesn't want to talk about it. And unless you happen to stumble upon the exact reason why, or she has a sudden personality shift, this is how it's going to stay. I wouldn't be in this relationship if I were you. Not because of the lack of sex, but because of the utter lack of interest on her part to make the relationship work.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.